Golden State Warriors forward Draymond Green was having the first media talk time this year. And you know what he said? He exclaimed, "Chris Paul is kind of an asshole." Also praised Paul's work ethic, leadership, and professionalism. As we all know, Green and Paul have faced off in intense playoff battles over the years. So what's behind these remarks? Let's analyze. Chris Paul and the Warriors have spent years as rivals, and the Golden State's option for trade for the guard has become one of the biggest storylines ahead of the upcoming season. Specifically, how Paul and Draymond Green mesh will be integral in deciding how far Golden State goes. Draymond Green, the fiery forward for the Golden State Warriors, didn't mince words when discussing his new teammate, Chris Paul, who joined the Dubs this offseason via trade. While the two NBA veterans have faced off in intense playoff battles over the years, Green emphasized that their on-court clashes were a result of shared competitive spirit. When speaking with the media for the first time this year, Green praised Paul for his prickly attitude, which he believes will be a benefit. During the Warriors Media Day press conference, Green provided insights into his evolving relationship with Paul and their common goal of winning the NBA championship together. "I didn't know Chris was all outside of competing with him," Green candidly admitted. "If you've ever watched Chris compete, he's kind of an asshole," Green said. "He may say the same thing about me, and that's okay. But he's also one of the most competitive guys I've played against over my 11 years in the league. I'm also an extremely competitive guy, and that I'm not backing down from anyone. He's not backing down from anyone either. That will bring some clashes, and it has brought plenty of them." Green's description of Paul as being kind of an asshole highlights the intensity of their past encounters and competitiveness, and has defined their careers. He acknowledged the animosity that developed as they competed relentlessly for championships, especially over the last 8 years, during which both players have been at the forefront of the NBA's most significant moments. Although Paul has had a widely successful career, he hasn't won a championship yet, while Golden State has won 4 titles with Green, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson. However, the Warriors lost in the second round of the playoffs last year and are trying to keep up with the reigning NBA champions, the Nuggets. Therefore, Golden State are welcoming Paul to the team, hoping that he can be the latest successful addition to their dynasty. And Green, who has a history of being a strong personality, is hoping the veteran point guard will bring a new perspective. That is something that you just can't quantify, because that is influence. Green said about Paul's leadership, "I'm extremely excited about the opportunity to learn from him." Green continued, "When you're competing for that at the level that we've competed for, sometimes it brings hate because we're going after the same thing. That definitely brought animosity between us. But look at the runs we've been on. Houston was right at the center of that. The Clippers were right at the center of that, and so was Phoenix. Over the 11 years I've been in the league, we've competed at a championship level for 8 of them. Chris Paul has been at the center of 6 of those years." Despite their history of animosity, Green expressed his commitment to moving forward and forging a successful partnership with Chris Paul. He praised Paul's work ethic, leadership, and professionalism, highlighting the opportunity for personal growth and learning from a veteran of Paul's caliber. "I'm excited about it. We're growing fast together," Green remarked. "It's been an incredible start." Over the last decade, the Golden State Warriors have rivaled Isaac Newton for the most prolific use of the word gravity. In basketball parlance, it refers to opposing defenses being magnetically attracted to legendary shooters like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. But Golden State's new addition, who also happens to be their oldest addition, is bringing a different type of gravity. With his 18 seasons of NBA experience, rife with countless accomplishments and evolving methods of leadership, Chris Paul unwittingly generates a vacuum as soon as he steps into a room, drawing teammates, coaches, ball boys, anyone in the vicinity into his orbit. A vocal leader in his own right, Warriors forward Draymond Green listened as some of his young teammates relayed what they had learned from Paul during an off-season workout. Green marveled that even without speaking to Paul himself, he was already tangentially learning from him. That is something that you just can't quantify because that is influence. Green said of Paul's leadership, "I'm extremely excited about the opportunity to learn from him." Paul joins the Warriors, formerly a bitter rival in his Rockets and Clippers days, after a season in which the esteemed Golden State culture suffered a few hairline fractures. The team never recovered, in head coach Steve Kerr's estimation, from Green punching Jordan Poole during training camp, along with the publicized aftermath. It's only fitting that when Golden State brought in Paul, partly to help him stabilize the locker room, it was the same trade that sent Poole packing to the nation's capital. During Monday's media day, virtually every Warrior on the days spoke of the team's renewed connectivity and how the vibes seemed good heading into the official start of camp. Last season saw frustration on both sides when lottery picks Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and James Wiseman, later traded to Detroit, failed to seize consistent roles in Kerr's rotation. Paul is here to make sure that the team remains unified despite the distinct separation between the 30-somethings and the 20-somethings. In order for your team to be good, we can't be the vets over here and the young guys over there. It takes a team, Paul said on Monday. We all have our strengths. We all have our weaknesses. I think one of my strengths is that I always try. At least try. Ain't always perfect, but at least try to make sure I bring people together. Bringing people together is a noble sentiment, but the potential chemistry-shattering elephant in the room is enormous and unavoidable. It didn't take internet sleuths long to resurface Green's comments about Paul from a 2020 interview on the All the Smoke podcast. I don't like CP at all. Like, we don't have a good relationship at all. Green said at the media that conversations with Paul over the summer have helped separate the competitor from the person, and that the two are actually very similar, particularly when it comes to their public perception. Having two combustible alpha leaders will lead to inevitable clashes, Green admitted, but it can also be a tremendous strength for a team looking to rebound from a disappointing season following the 2022 title. And it certainly doesn't hurt to have a respected Hall of Famer who's not afraid to go toe-to-toe with the headstrong Green. If those two guys can focus that energy on the court when it comes to games, doing exactly that, making everybody hate them and making us love them, I know they can keep each other accountable to that energy as well, Curry said. That's going to make a huge difference and give them an edge and give us an edge. With all the talk of leadership and intangibles, Paul was certain to remind everyone on Monday that this isn't some veteran mentor situation, that he's here to hoop. Paul's basketball IQ is notably off the charts, and while his production has declined over the past 2 seasons, he's still one of the elite pick-and-roll maestros in the game. When Golden State's quick-hitting read-and-react offense occasionally stalls out, it's a luxury to have one of the best point guards of all time to steer things in the right direction. I think he's going to keep us under control a little bit more. Sometimes last year we got a little too chaotic, Warriors center Kevin Looney said. I think having Chris out there is going to help us balance out. As the elder statesman, the assumption is that Paul, 38, will usually be the one doing the teaching. With all of that basketball under his belt, it's only natural that he'd play the part of the wise sage, preaching from beneath the Bodhi tree. But even with all of his accumulated knowledge, Paul can still learn a thing or two from a Warriors core that has been through it all and has the one thing that Paul lacks: championship experience. Being here with this great group of talent, Steph and I were in the gym together last night, and it's just fun when you're working out with guys because you think you know things, Paul said on. So even with Kuminga and some of the younger guys, you can always learn in this league, and that's what brings excitement, and that's what makes it fun. And that's all for today. What do you think? Can Paul win his debut championship next time? Or is Green gonna grab his next 5th one for the Golden State? Comment your predictions. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time.